Hello, hello, hello. And happy Friday. It's December 27th, 2024. The last December 27th of 2024, the first amongst its own. My name is Jen Schiffer, and I used to stream on Twitch, and I recently moved to YouTube. So please, if you follow me there and on Twitch, ignore that. I just want to make sure all the audio levels and stuff. Oh, Cethos, hey, what's up? We're going to be looking at candles today, but I just want to give a few seconds for any folks who are going to join, for them to join, because I just posted on my Mastodon. And yeah, to chill. I did a stream a couple of weeks ago where I unboxed a candle making starter kit, and then I worked on this candle collection I'm going to show you, and then I fell into a bad depression for like 2 weeks. So that's why I'm only just sharing this stuff now. So I'm getting back into the swings of creating content online. I deactivated my Blue Sky. I don't know, I just December was a weird month, I think, for everybody. But I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm excited to share the stuff that I've been working on. Before I blog about it, I decided I'm going to do live streams as exclusive first looks at the projects that I'm making, and then I finish the blog that I've drafted to post on Live Laugh blog, which is my blog. The candle of today's stream comes in a Café du Monde coffee tin. I can't tip it over too much because then wax will pour, but it's a double wick candle that I made from a coffee can that came from my old job's office, and the color inside kind of matches the color of the tin. It is orange because and one of the wicks got unlit. It's citrus, sunshine, and blood orange. It's a mix of two scents, so it's a very strong citrusy scent that I'm gonna snuff out now since the other wick blew out and I don't want it to burn unevenly. But it's about a third of the candles left. It's big. I can't tell you how many pounds of wax went into it, but this is also good coffee, Café du Monde. It's good if you like I use this whenever I use my Vietnamese coffee filters. It's got chicory in it, so it's an acquired taste. So that's the candle of the stream. And then the gamer fuel of the stream. This is a carryover from when Potch and I did the Property Cousins stream on Twitch. But these are the drinks, the gamer fuel. So I have a little bit of sugar-free iced tea, dangerously low amount. And then I have my almond milk iced latte. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this later, watching the video on demand, in the comments, let me know what you are drinking and what candles you're burning. I just realized I have a third beverage. So I just got back from the gym. That's why I'm wearing half a shirt. So I have rag I stopped by the grocery store, so receipts. Where's my water bottle? There we go. This is the iconic, I think xoxo 2016 water bottle. So now we got water from the gym that I didn't finish drinking. Going to the gym, I hate this. Going to the gym has been one of the few things that has kept me from hating myself when I'm going through a depression. So even when I was at my lowest, I would just walk a half mile to the gym, go on the treadmill for a mile or two, and then walk the half mile back home and be like, well, at least I did that. So, yeah. Forrest, love studio visit. Hey, how's it going? Sitha says big piles of instant coffee and a Woodwick ginger bouquet from Urban Eden. Marina, aloha. I hope you're doing well. I hope it's nice over there in Hawaii. Here in Jersey City, it is actually it's kind of a balmy 39 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been really fucking cold here, like real feel 15 degrees. So it was actually nice. I didn't have to like wear my gloves when I went outside. I'm sure it's a lot warmer in Hawaii, which I've never been to. But yeah, anyway, so went to the gym. My hair is a mess, that's why I put a hat on it. That's pro tip. But yeah, going to the gym helps with my depression, which it sucks. It sucks because I should just be able to lay in bed and watch YouTube all day and have that make me feel better about myself, like, and hormonally and chemically. Because that's the issue. I have thyroid disease, and one of the fun parts of thyroid disease is that when you have your thyroid, like when your hormone levels are good because of treatment and medication, you are still at a high risk of depression. And so that's fun. You work on yourself physically, and then you get sad. Anyway, that's life. But what I've been doing to combat that is, besides going to gym, working on my arts and crafts. And so one of the things that I was feeling antsy about at the end of November is that I haven't been working on sculptural candles. If you follow my blog, livelaugh.blog, I've been doing a lot of pouring of fragrance candles with friends, giving them away to coworkers. Just this past Thanksgiving weekend, I had a couple of friends come over for leftovers, and they each left with a candle that I taught them how to make. But pouring fragrance candles is like fun and all, but I know a lot of people can't enjoy fragrance candles because it causes them headaches and stuff. The fragrances I use, by the way, are phthalate free, and the wax I used is 100% soy. So these are not like the standard candles on the shelf in stores that can have like bad things inside of it, like phthalates and carcinogens and paraffin, all that. So that's why I got into pouring my own candles. But I wanted something more. I wanted to do something more artistic with them than just pouring in recycling jars. So while I still do that, and I'll probably do a session of that this weekend, I wanted to make stuff like this. This is an orange. It smells like an orange because I put the wax in a mold, which I have right here, actually. I use one of these molds, and silicone, so like if it's a soap mold or a candy mold, like it can handle wax. And then I made a little leaf. I just poured a little green wax, and then I put a wick on it, and then I have a little orange. And yeah, and I made this back in March, I believe. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna share my screen, but I don't want to spoil. Okay, here I am on Live Laugh blog. This is my blog, and I made a couple of candle apps earlier in the month for determining how much wax, fragrance oil to use, and I made a glitch app for my inventory so you can see all the fragrances that I own, which I've used, how I rated it, and if I wrote a blog post about it. This is more a resource for me, but could be helpful for use. But I wrote about this candle that I hold in front of you. Actually, this one I gave to my former coworker, Justin, March 10th. So it's been almost a year since I've done that. So yeah, Sita says your cat would immediately cause chaos, the ball-shaped candle. Well, I have a cat too who would probably cause chaos, but fortunately Puma Greg stays away from this up here. But the thing that I learned a lot And this is why I keep having to remind myself that I have to keep practicing, keep doing stuff, and not take these long breaks, is because each time I do something, I learn a lot from it, which is why I love doing it. And sometimes when you fall into a depression or work gets crazy, like, you lose sight of that, and then you feel really bad, and then you have to debug, like, wait, why do I feel different than I did at this time? That's why blogging about this stuff has been really helpful, because I can go back and be like, oh yeah, in March is when I made this candle. I also made a 3JS version of it, because I last year did a 3JS certification course, and so yeah. So I wanted to do more of that. One of the things I learned from the orange candles, besides the fact that I like doing the sculptural stuff, is that I was using the wrong wax. I was using wax for filling vessels, and I should be using wax for molds. And so there's special forms of that. So what I did was late last month, I was like, okay, I'm feeling antsy. I'm gonna make some structural candles. I have to get the right materials, or else I'm gonna like feel dejected and like a failure. And so I went out and I got from Candle Science wax for pillar candles. Pillar candles are the cylindrical candles, so they're in a mold. And my gosh, I did a live stream right then unboxing that Candle Science order, so you can check on my YouTube channel. It was nice because nobody was there, and so I went on, I think I went on a bunch of tangents. I'm probably doing that here, but yeah, so I bought that wax, and I was thinking, like, okay, now I have the right materials. What am I going to make? And the thing that I caught myself getting caught up on was, I was thinking backwards. I was like, let me sketch out some candles that I want to make, and then I'll make them. But then I couldn't come up with a solid bunch of sketches. Like I was drawing a blank. And I was like, this is why I've never done the structural candle since the orange. I feel I trick myself into thinking that I have to have everything planned out and perfect before I put hand to materials. And what I'm trying to do in 2025 is not do that. Just like play, experiment. I am like, it's only been almost 4 months since I quit my job. So like, I'm still like working on deconstructing the corporate success mindset and learning a lot, and already knowing from working in corporate why things take so long. And it's because of that urge to feel like you have everything prepared before you do a thing, because the stakes feel high. But even in corporate, the stakes usually aren't as high. And when it comes to making candles, there are like no stakes. So the stake is just like my mental health. So yeah, so I decided that I'm going to just fill all the like variety of molds that I happen to have. A lot of them are just like squares, rectangles, those spheres, of different colors over a couple of days, so I can create building blocks of pieces to put together. And then I would just sit down and put those pieces together into a collection of candles. So I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee before it becomes mostly water. And yeah, so I did that. It was like 2 or 3 days of filling molds, because I only have like one of each mold. So if I wanted different colors, I would have to like wait a day. But that pacing was nice because it gave me time to do other things. And then I just started sitting down and putting the pieces together and wicking them into candles. And it was great. It was really great. Marine says, woo yay 4 months. I feel you about deconstructing from work brain. And Sita says, it's been about a year for me. It took a while to get out of that corporate work loop. Honestly. And you know, what's interesting about the corporate work loop is when I was in it, I was recognizing it around me. And you don't realize until you 100% pull yourself out of it how a part of it you were or complicit in. Like, it's nice to think that, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a main character syndrome. I think the fact that I took it upon myself to quit while I was at like I guess as I decided, I quit when I was at what I felt like was the top of how high I would go in that place. And the fact that I did that on my own means that I had like kind of destructured that thinking a lot. But when I left, it took like a couple of months to be like, oh, there's like a lot more work to do. Marina says every morning I have to spend time when I wake up telling myself you're not behind, you're not subject to a long list of to-dos. You can make this day what you want it to be every single morning. That's so true, and it's so hard to. It sounds silly to, as an adult, have to give yourself like pep talks, but you have to accept that there's so much. I'll call it propaganda around us everywhere, trying to tell us the opposite of what is innately natural to us. The amount that I was working was unnatural. And anybody that says otherwise is just wrong. Like, I worked myself into an autoimmune disease, a slew of autoimmune diseases actually. And so like, that is like a physical, scientific, like, red flag. And it was myself and my like nurturing, but also all the propaganda around me, even coming from like-minded, well-minded people who are all like me, just like cogs in the wheel. I don't have any advice for people that are feeling that way, because everyone's circumstances are different. What I say now is all I can do is be a model for an option you may have. And in my case, I guess one of the benefits of working yourself almost to death and living kind of a frugal lifestyle is I was able to save up an amount of money where I could live without a job for a significant period of time. I'm not gonna say comfortably, because comfort is relative. What might be uncomfortable for me might be comfortable for other people. I have that added level of being chronically ill and in the US, so that's a scary element, but that just shows how desperate I was. And candle making I started candle making years ago, just like pouring in vessels, and that was very therapeutic for me. And there's a point where it stopped being therapeutic, it started getting boring, and that's why I want to level up to doing more abstract art and sculptures, because I wanted to continue doing something that I found very therapeutic, that was very hands-on. I have to pay attention, I have to be patient, and yeah, that's how I got into this. And I've been doing some painting and airbrushing, but the candles I'm very excited for. But that is not to say, I will tell you, quitting your job will not cure depression. I know that's for sure, but it helps. It was nice to be able to kind of rot in bed and dilly-dally on my own schedule and not feel like I'm responsible for other people, except for myself. And I am glad that I've had the time and space, and also the support of my partner Andy, who's been great. We had like a really, like, after like a couple weeks of me being just like really like, and this depression it's chemical and hormonal, but also on top of everything going on in the world, it's also like emotional and spiritual. That's why it felt so bad. So I made these candles and I was like so hyped, and then the next day it was like a crash, like, and it felt almost like the candle making was like a manic part of my life, but it's not. It was just a lot. Fortunately, I mean, I go to therapy and my therapist is great, and I have had the time because I haven't been working, and also like everyone's kind of a little bit slower this month because of the holidays, so I'm not glad it happened, but I'm glad it happened when I did, and I feel a lot better now. And I'm glad that you're all here and I hope I'm glad, I'm glad this is resonating, but also like I hate that it's resonating because it's one of those things where I'm like, no one should have depression. Like, have we all considered just not being sad anymore? Maybe that's the collective action we need. I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's get into these candles. Okay, so my goal for doing this was, one, just to like make something, and also try to see that if I can make a cohesive collection of of like these sculptural candles. I used pillar wax from Candle Science. I didn't use any fragrance. I used liquid dyes from Candle Science, which are also phthalate free. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first pair, when the first candle that I started making, I took a simple blue rectangle and then a smaller green rectangular prism. And in order to make them, I needed to poke a hole in them. I have like clay tools that have worked great. You heat it up a little over a flame and then you kind of drill. There's like a little clay drill I got. Manually drill a little hole so I could pop the wick. My first time doing that, I wasn't patient enough. I wasn't slow enough, and I broke it. Like the first thing I did was I fucked it up. But I was like, that's fine. I had to like actively for the first like hour of this process remind myself that this is for fun. This is low stakes. Nobody's gonna be mad at me for breaking a thing. Only myself. And to be mad at myself for breaking a candle is silly. I can make something cool out of it. So I decided I would make 2 candles out of the broken piece, and in fact I broke the green piece on top. So here's my first one. This is a top view. It's just simple. I used a heat gun to smooth it out a bit, and so I had 2 of these. And if you're a follower of mine, you might have noticed that I posted a live stream of a time lapse the other day of a candle melting, and I liked the way that candle melted so much that I just removed the wick and I put in a new one. And so this is the other half of this, but this one's melted and it's got like a cool pour. And so these are siblings. It reminds me of there's like that meme of like that schoolgirl before her first day of school and her then when she got back home and she's all disheveled. That's this. This is like me before my first day of school, me at the end of the day. And so those are a little pair. I actually took some photos of my of all these candles for my blog. I haven't published it yet. I was gonna wait for the stream. But I can share the draft. It's the Live, Laugh, Blah exclusive. Marina says, I have a candle question. I enjoy the cheapy Jesus type candles, but I don't know how to clean them when I get to the bottom because I'd like to reuse the glass container. Any tips? Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, so what you want to do is, it depends on what wax is in the jar. The first thing you want to try is putting it in the freezer. When wax gets like room temperature, when it like unmelts, it shrinks. And so like the colder it is, the more that it shrinks. So you might want to try doing that, and then you might be able to pop it out. If it's like a bit like more, if it's like paraffin, it's like a softer wax, you might just have to like heat the glass like in a pot of like hot water. And what I would do is like get a paper towel on a spatula that you don't mind using for a candle. You wouldn't be able to use the spatula for food, but use something that to get the paper towel inside so that you can get that wax out. But if you're using like if it's pure soy wax, I mean, it depends on, again, like where you got it. If it's a cheapy Jesus type candle, it might be a little bit hard to get out, but freeze it first and give that a shot. But yeah, here's my blog. So here's the pair together. My little babies. This is the back end of my 11T blog on Glitch. So it's not a public Glitch app. Well, it's private code, so you can't see this view. Otherwise I would share the link. Like if you go there, it's gonna be like you're not logged in. But yeah, and yeah, I use Glitch as my blog editor. I mean, it's my most everything except 3JS editor, because 3JS has so many functions, and I enjoy the autocomplete that plugins with it have. So yeah, and I love 11T. Shouts out. Okay, my next pair of candles introduces a new color and molds to it. So I'd shown the sphere molds that I have, so my third candle is this little guy. It's got a green base, the sphere, and I went to Michael's and got some molds that are meant for like candy, and so I got like little leaves and stuff. Cephas, have a good lunch. Thanks for joining, and you can catch the rest of the candles on this video later, or I'll publish my blog post right after the stream on Live Laugh blog. But have a good weekend and Happy New Year. If I don't stream before, see you around. So yeah, candle 3, sphere. It's another fruit kind of deal. I liked adding the leaves. And then its sibling candle is this. It's another sphere with some leaves. And I put, instead of having it like this, I have it standing up here and just the wick here. I kind of like the idea like of this block of wax. One, it's purple, so it introduces that color. But it's just structural. It's not functional. And I like that. And I think that they look really flippin' cute together. And here are the photos I took of them. And here they are together. The challenging part of these is getting them to stick. So it takes some like etching the wax, melting it. There's so many different ways to do it, and as I mentioned in my blog, I fucked up every one. There's reject candles from this collection, there's pieces I broke, but I try to make do with it, and I think I did a good job. But those are my two little like fruity candles there. Let's get into the final two, because it's 6 in the collection, and I'll show you the rejects because I'm not gonna blog about the rejects, but I'll show you because you are here. So this is a breakthrough candle for me. This is where I was like, oh, I can really do like abstract art with candles. And so this is a rose. It doesn't look like a rose, but you can tell it's a rose 'cause it's got the stem and it's got the red flower top and it's on a blue base. I love, like, these are like the pillar wax. They're not sticky or soft. It's literally like building blocks that I've made here. And I was like, let me just put a half sphere. I just poured I just filled the mold halfway. That's how you make half a sphere. Go figure. And then just like pop them together. I did have some difficulty getting the green to stick to the blue. It's a little sloppy, but again, like, I learned how I'm gonna change things in the future, and I think that was what was most exciting and enriching about the project, was fucking up and learning how to do it different and then doing it different in the next candle. So the candle that's paired with this This one's like maybe my favorite. So this has, I filled only a little bit of the red base candle, and you'll notice there's 2 wicks, one for the purple sphere, one for the red sphere, which has a leaf, and then I have these like little gems that came from another candy mold, one in blue and purple. And this one was fun because I like the idea of there being multiple wicks on different levels, and it's like just like a still life. In fact, I want to paint all these candles as a still life, and I just think the double is just freaking cute. Yeah, Marina, the double is very cute. And yeah, so that's those candles together. Let's look at my blog post. So there's my rose. The rose is what really like led me to be like, oh, I have actually lots of ideas of what I want to make with candles. And I'm already working on my next like collection based on some of these learnings. But yeah, there they are together from an aerial view. Here are all the candles. Look at that. Let me increase the size there. So yeah, those are my first collection of candles that I made, and I highly recommend if you're getting into any craft with any materials, just like diving in and like making a bunch of pieces and then putting it all together is a really fun thing. I feel like this is like collage work but with candles. Wax is fairly inexpensive. You get a 10 pound for like 30 to 40 bucks. You can get molds wherever, like Michael's or on Etsy. Like there's lots of stuff. It's one of my more affordable mediums for art. But yeah, I'm super excited. I have some time that I can continue to show a couple other candles. These are the rejects. They're rejects because I messed up some of it, and I'll probably just break it apart and reuse the wax, or do another time-lapse candle melt like I had done with the other one. But I wasn't a fan of how the yellow came out. You'll see there's no yellow in this collection up above, but I did use yellow for some molds, and I should have added a little bit more red to the yellow. I'll show you. Let me pull this out here. Okay. So even though these are rejects, that just means that they're not what I consider canonical to my first candle collection, but I do love them. This looks like a bunch of sticks of butter. I broke one, and then I was like, let me just like pile it up. There's the wick on the bottom, and I added some leaves to it. This will be fun to record it melting, and I'll upload it to YouTube, a time lapse, or maybe I'll just do it like a Yule log kind of thing. But that is also a good time for me to note that when I went about making this project, I set the intention to not be intentional about the functionality of the candle. Like, I know that this candle, like sometimes when people get a candle, they want a candle that's going to burn for as long as possible. I was going about making like the decorative soaps of candles where they're not very functional. That time lapse on my YouTube of that second candle, I only melted that for about an hour and almost melted completely through. And that's because it's like small shapes on top that burn through pretty quickly. And so I know this candle, while it might be a significant amount of wax, it's not gonna take long to burn through. And that's okay because it's not intended to be burned, is what I'm saying. But I am going to burn this and I'm going to record it and upload it. So yeah, but the yellow is just did not match the rest of the colors enough for me. I would in the future add a little bit more red to the yellow. In fact, I did make some yellow yesterday. And you can barely tell, but like it's more of an egg yolk yellow. So I'm making an egg candle out of this. This is the yellow I was going for. So it's yellow liquid dye with a little bit of red. Yes, this would make an excellent cheese biscuit. And it does look like cheese. In person, it's very like buttery, whereas this is more like cheese. The screen's not gonna do it justice. I think maybe next to each other you might be able to better tell. This is more like cheddar and this is like butter. So this is going in a future step that I've already started working on. The pear for this, I really wanted this one to work, but I think if I know that if I tried it again, I can make it happen. But this, I wanted to take 2 square bases and have the cylinder here and it just be like weird, but you can see how fugly this is where I mentioned that putting the wax pieces together so they don't move around was something that took me a few tries to figure out. And I figured it out after I made this, or I learned what not to do. I was like trying to pour wax in, and this is because like the sphere molds, again, when you pour wax in a mold, as it cures, the wax shrinks. So it's kind of flat on the bottom. Sometimes it's caved in, and like you can see the blue here, this is the bottom of the mold and this is the top, and so it kind of caves in a little bit. I love that, but for the sphere to try to get it to stick, you see I just like it's just like a lot of ugly melted wax that I then try to cover by putting gems on it. And then I was like, you know what, I gotta call an audible on this one. So I'll probably just break this apart and remelt the wax for other stuff, which is another one of my favorite things about working with wax, is how versatile and like reusable it is if you're not too precious about colors and stuff. Like I'm very curious as to what it would look like if I melted the purple and the blue together, if that would be like a nice color. And so I'm not going to do a live stream or a time lapse melting this candle. I will break this apart and use it for other candles, but the vision is there. Imagine like seeing this like on the back of someone's toilet. Like my bathroom is very decorative. It's probably the most decorated out of my apartment. I love it. So when I say like back of toilet, I mean that in like an endearing, like this is like where decorations go. But like imagine you go in someone's bathroom and this is on the back of the toilet and you're like, whoa, what is that? Oh my gosh, it's a candle. That's what I'm going for. I want to make something unique, interesting, thought-provoking, and sustainable. And that's that. So those are my candles, my candle collection. I think I might have linked to, in my blog, I'll be linking to a photo of the rejects. That's how you know that I knew that these are rejects, because I didn't take like a good backdrop photo. I mean, this is a good photo, but this is not, you could see like the back where the paper is. I literally like take, where's my thing? I have like a clipboard with paper and I put it on my windowsill, and then I try to take the photos, and that's the operation here. Real professional stuff. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna publish. Actually, I can show you how I publish. I'm going to rename this markdown file so that's no longer my drafts folder. And I separate it by year. And then I'm gonna open up the terminal, run npm run build, and then here we are, a collection of candles I made. And now that I have a live stream associated with it, I'm going to actually, in my post, so it said, you may want to spread a new challenge. Let me see. Let's see. We're gonna add a link to this. I'm gonna say, I'm streaming this at Twitch Tuesdays. It's where I first showed off these candles. I'm also uploading time lapses of me. Let's see. This is just marked down to add the YouTube link because I would like people to subscribe because I would like to stream more now that I'm on other social platforms. Okay, so I updated it. We're on npm run build again. Forrest, that's right. We're in the blog post. Let's see. Here's all my candles. Blah, blah, blah. It's where I first showed off these candles, and then I click it and it will show the stream. How's that? It's the stream in the stream, the chat in the chat. Good stuff. Anyway, let's see, was there anything else I wanted to go over? No, if you haven't yet, subscribe. And thank you to those of you who joined me in the chats. Good to see you, Marina, Forrest, Cethos, who left for lunch. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you all have a nice new year. That's Wednesday next week, right? What these holidays being on Wednesday kind of screws things up because that's when our water delivery is supposed to come. And it's also when I have therapy, so it's 2 weeks without water and therapy, which feels like a disaster, but it's fine. We have plenty of water, and the candles are my therapy until I go back. But thank you for joining me. I'm thinking of scheduling like a weekly office hour stream on like a set schedule and then doing something like this whenever like I feel like it, now that I have the time and I have more things to show off. I'm about to finish another project I have with watercolors, and then I have more candles that I'm making off to the side here. My candle station is kind of like jammed over there. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish the rest of my gamer fuel, have a snack, and I hope you all have a very nice weekend. Thank you, and have a good Friday.